Hi, my name is Chandan and I welcome you to my channel. This is the fifth video in TestNG tutorial series and we are going to see an attribute provided by TestNG for a test method in this video. So let's quickly start. But before we start, I want to tell you two things. First, if you are a beginner and you don't keep any experience in using TestNG, I highly recommend you to watch the videos in the playlist TestNG tutorial from the beginning. I will add the link in the description below. Okay? And the second thing is, if this is your first time here and you are interested in learning Selenium, Java, and automation related stuff, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell icon so that you don't miss any video that I upload. Thanks a lot, and let's quickly start now. Okay? So, what is the agenda for today's video? So we are going to look at two different things. The first one is the default order of execution of test methods, how they are executed when we don't have any attribute like priority. Okay? And after that, we are going to see how priority attribute works with test methods. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Okay, so this is my project. TestNG YT priority project. I have created a basic Java project. Okay, and then I have one class C1 default order, and if you see, I have these methods in the class, and if you see, I have written them in the order open browser, launch website, sign in, search product, add to cart, sign out, and close browser. So the basic actions that we do on an e-commerce site. We open the browser, we launch the site, and then we sign in, we search for a product, and then we add to the cart and we sign out and then close browser. Okay, now I'm going to show that I'm going to tell you that each of this method they have at the rate test annotation. Okay, so that means these are test methods. Okay, and the second thing to note here is I'm not using any Selenium command, any Selenium script. I'm just using the sysout plain system.out.println and the name of the method. So if you see here, open browser, the name, what I'm going to print within this method is same, the name of the method, that is, and with a space. Okay, open browser, open dot browser. And similarly, we have for launch website, I'm going to launch a website using this method. Okay, again, no Selenium script with and just with at the rate test annotation. So these are all test methods. When I say test method, that means the method with at the rate test annotation. Okay, similarly, sign in, sign space in, search product, search space product, and add to cart. Similarly, we have sign out, and similarly we have close browser. So this is one test case. I mean, if you think of the test case that we generally perform, one entire end-to-end flow starting from browser, launching the browser to signing out and then closing the browser. Okay, I've written them in the same order. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this class using TestNG and see what do we get, in what sequence they execute, the methods are executed. Okay, so it has started and there will be no launching of browser or anything like, because I have not written the Selenium script. This is just for to explain you what happens when we don't have any attribute like priority. What is a default execution order? So if you see here, though I have written them in the order that I wanted to execute, but if you see, the TestNG has executed them in some random order. Okay, it has gone to add to cart, then close browser, then launch website, and then open browser, search product, sign in, sign out. So all messed up. Okay, this is not the way you want to execute, right? But if you observe here, okay, you will find a pattern there. What you will find here is these methods. Okay, these methods are executed in alphabetical order. Okay, so the first one is add to cart. In all these methods, since they all are test method, TestNG found the first method to be executed with the one first in the alphabetical order. Okay, so add to cart starts with A, Okay, and that's the reason why we have add to cart printed first, and then in the entire test we have close browser that starts with C, and that's why the method name starts with C. That's why close browser was called. And after that we have launch website. After C we have a method with name launch starting with L. That's why it is in that order. So add to class, and if you see the, I mean, the actual method name here is printed. Add to cart, close browser, launch O. Okay, and if you see here the three methods down at the bottom, they all start with S. Okay, so the next string in the name will be considered. So if you see here E and I, so E come first. So that's why search product was executed first, and then in this there was a, you can see sign sign both are same. Okay, but we have I and out. Okay, so which one would take the precedence? Of course I comes before O. That's why we have sign in executed first and then we have sign out. Okay, so this is what happens when you have test method and you execute them using TestNG execute them in the order of alphabet, in the alphabetical order. All right, so and it doesn't matter if you change the position of the method. So for example, I cut the method and I put it all the way down here at the bottom. Okay, I have changed the position of search product. I have kept it all the way the bottom. If I run this, let's go and run it. And again, the order of execution will remain the same. It will start from A, or the one which is first in the alphabetical order. Add to cart, close browser, launch website, open browser, search product, sign in and sign out. Okay, so the position of method doesn't matter. Okay, what matters is the name of the method, the letter with which the name starts. Okay, so if, say for example, if okay, we saw that we know we have three method with the same letter, so the second will be match. And if we have, it will go till there is a difference between them. Okay, so if you see sign in and sign out, the difference is on the fourth letter, fifth letter, sorry, I and O. So I took the precedence and they were executed. Okay, and this is one of the interview question, basic interview question, just to check if you know that, in case we don't have any any attribute added, then what is the order of execution of the test methods? So the answer is they are executed in alphabetical order. Okay, so this is what I wanted to tell in the first agenda. I hope it is clear. If you have any question on that, please drop it in the comment box. I will just try to answer that. Okay. Second thing is we are going to see priority attribute of test methods. Okay, so let's start. So yeah, now okay, let me just give you an overview of what is priority. Okay, so you see the problem we have. The problem statement is when we don't have anything added like priority. Okay, I mean, just forget about priority. As of now, we saw that if we have multiple test method within a class and when we execute them, you don't have the control of the execution, right? TestNG execute them in the order of alphabetical, in alphabetical order. So what is the option that you are left with? You are left with only two options. The first thing is, which would be very weird, you will have to change the name of each of the method that you have. You will have to name them in such a way that they are executed in the they are executed in alphabetical order, but they execute them in the way you want. I mean, in the sequence you want, right? Sequence as in the order you want, right? So it may happen that you name the first method with A, and the second method that you want, the second step that you want to perform in the second test you want to perform, to be clear, to start, I mean, the method name to start with B and then C and then D. Okay, that will be very weird and it will be messy for you. You will have to find a lot of right words, because generally these words are verb, right? So we will be short of words. So in order to avoid that, the second option is we use priority attribute. Okay, now let me just take you to um, TestNG documentation. Okay, let's go to TestNG and let's see what TestNG says. Okay, now in the documentation part, if you come here, okay, and if you go to this at the rest test annotation, now these are the different attributes that is provided for TestNG at the rate test annotation. So these are the attributes that you can use with this annotation. So if you see here, we have priority available for test methods with test annotation. Okay, so let's go back to our program. So I was saying that you can add priority to these methods. Now, how do we add priorities? What is the syntax of adding priority to a test method? So let's go back to our slide, and this is the question: how to add priority, right? And this is a simple. I mean, I have taken the screenshot from the same program. If you see, we have sign in here, and if you see, the only change that you have here is I have added priority equals to 1 here. Okay, and how do we add priority? Nothing, just all you need is method with at the rate test annotation. You start an open bracket, and then you open a bracket, and then you add the keyword priority equal to and the number of prior I mean the number that you want to set, right? This can be any number, negative, 0, and positive. Okay, so it depends on what number, where you want to fit it in the sequence, where do you want to execute this sign in the entire sequence. Okay, so this is a very simple one. Okay, just have to make sure that this is the syntax that you this is the entire text that you have to add with at the rate test annotation. Let's go back to the program and see how it works. Okay, so let me just say, for example, this is the first thing that I wanted to add. This is the first method that I want to execute. So what you will do is you will just open bracket. Okay, Eclipse has added both bracket for me, so thank you, Eclipse. Priority, okay, equals to 1. You can start with any number, okay, but you have to make sure that the next test in the series takes the next number from that. Okay, so if you have set this as 0, then and if you want to run this one as second test, then all you have to do is copy this, paste it here, and put it as 2. Okay, similarly for rest of the uh, methods. So let me just quickly do it. Okay, so I'll change the number, okay, and we will rerun this test again. So we are done with 1, 2, let's go with 3, okay, let's go with 4, with 5, and you can see go with 6 and go 7. Okay, control S, and I'm going to, since I have set the priority, okay, I have told TestNG that hey, this method takes the highest priority. Okay, and then after that this one takes the next priority, and after that this. Okay, so if I show you this TestNG documentation, if you go to this priority, what it says, lower priorities will scheduled first. Okay, so lower the priorities, I mean the lower the number, priority number, the higher will be its priority. Okay, so I wanted to execute them in the same fashion, and that's why I have added the priority in the same fashion, 1, 2, starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so let's quickly run this first. Okay, and then we will get into more details. TestNG run. Okay, so I'm running them. So if you see now the execution, open browser was executed as the first test, and then we launched this site, then we signed in, we add okay, there is some mistake, I guess. Let me see. Search product was okay. I'll see again. Okay, sign in, add to cart, sign out, browser. Okay, just a minute. Okay, right. If you remember, we kept this search product all the way down. Okay, now since we have added priority, okay, we cannot keep them. I mean, we can keep it here, but we have to set the right priority. We can keep the method anywhere within the class, but we have to give the right priority to this method. So after signing, after signing, we have to search for the product. So this will take 4, and rest of them will go next. 5, 6 and 7. Okay, I guess we are sorted now. Let's go and run it quickly. Run as TestNG. Cool. Now, if you see, let me just open the report first. If you see, all of them are passed, and this is the sequence. Open browser, launch website, and then we signed it to the application, and then we searched for product, we added it to the cart, and we signed out, and then we closed the browser. So exactly the way you want it to execute. And how it will happen? Just by adding the right priority to the methods. Okay, so this is what priority is all about. Now we are going to see different conditions in priority. Okay, let's go. Okay, so priority attribute. Let's talk about priority attribute. We saw how it works, but we are going to see some edge cases. Okay, the first one says used only with methods with @test annotation. Okay, so it can be used only with test annotation method. I mean, method that is annotated as test. Okay, so in short, as I told you that I will call them as test method. Okay, so let me just go to the documentation again. Okay, here. If you see here, the priority is available only for @test. We have many other annotations here, right? All these annotations we have seen in the early videos. But if you see here, these are the annotations that are available for these annotations, but you don't see priorities anywhere. Okay, nowhere. For factory listener, parameter, nowhere. But for @test, it is available. So always remember that priority attribute is available only for methods with @test. Okay, so let's quickly check this with an example. This is my another class. Okay, and I have few you know methods here, test methods. Okay, so what I will do is, instead of, I will try to make this as before test. Okay, and let me just add the import statement, and let me add priority to this. Since I want to run this as the first method with open browser, so let me just set it as priority is equals to 1. All right. Now hit Control S, but still, if you see here, we have a curly line here, that says that we have some error, right? We got some error. Let's hover and check what it says. When we are hovering on it, it says the attribute priority is undefined for the annotation type before test, right? So it is not available for before test. So 8 quick fixes are available. Now these are the different attributes that are available for this particular annotation. Like the way we have attributes I showed you in the documentation, like the way we have attributes for test annotation, we have attributes available for before test as well. Okay, so what if I change it to before suite? Okay, instead of, it will just give me this error. It will ask me to import, state import always. So let me just make it star so that it imports all of them together. Now that error is gone, and this time we have before suite. I hover on priority and the same error for before suite. Okay, the attribute priority is undefined for annotation type before suite. Okay, let's check the class one. What happens if for class? Okay, class, Control S, and now if you see, we still have that error here, and if I hover on it, it says the same statement for before class as well. And if you go for, let's take one more example for after. Okay, after class, let's go for after class. Still the same, the error is still there, and the same line, the attribute priority is undefined for annotation type and after class. So we saw that uh, priority is only available for test methods, that is the method with test annotation. And now if you see, we have the error is gone. Okay, so this is what I wanted to tell you in this first statement, used only with methods with @test annotation. Okay, let's go to the second one. Lower priorities will be scheduled first. I told you, right? I showed you that lower the priority number, higher will be the priority. Okay, so this is priority 1, and if you want to set priority here, and if I set it to 0, okay, then this method will be executed before this method. The reason is we have lower priority than this priority. 0 and 1, 0 comes first, so this priority, I mean this number is lower then this number. That's why this will be executed first and this will be executed next. Okay, let me quickly run this. Just right. So if you see, we have sign in and open browser. So sign in was executed first and open browser was executed next. Okay, you can ignore this as of now. Okay, let me just get rid of this. All right, and run it again just to show you that that has nothing to do with what I wanted to explain. So if you see here now, all right, now this is interesting. Okay, I'll come back to this later, but I have already told you that the lower the number, the higher is the priority. We have seen that in this example. Okay, this is very interesting one, which we are going to cover in one of these points. Okay, I'll come back to that later. Okay, now except the third one is accepts only integer values, can be negative, 0 and positive. Okay, remember it says negative. Note that it says negative, 0 and positive. So let's quickly check that. All right, so let's take this simple example, 3 methods, and this time I'm going to take all the values that it accepts. So let's forget about the sequence. Okay, because always you want to open browser first, then you sign in, and then you want to close the browser, right? But now what I'm going to do is we are going to check if these numbers, I mean all the numbers are acceptable or not, accepted or not. -1, 0 and positive, that is 1. So negative number, we have negative number, 0, and then we have a positive number. So let's quickly run this and see what happens. Okay, so run is TestNG. If you see the execution order, we have close browser first and then sign in, then open browser, just in the reverse order. Okay, but it was executed in a reverse order not because they were executed in alphabetical order or anything like, but because of the priority. Okay, so we have given the least prior, I mean the highest priority to close browser and then sign in and then browser. Okay, so if I change it to, say for example, 75, okay, and see, let's see what happens. Okay, right click, run as TestNG. The order of execution will still be the same. Okay, close browser, sign in, open browser. So doesn't matter, all it wants is it can be negative, 0 and positive number, and the least, I mean the number which is considered as the least, I mean the lowest, is negative number. So let's check here. Okay, so if I say -5, then -5 will be executed first. The method with -5 will be executed first. -4, -3, -2, -1, and then we have 0, and then it will go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 50, dot dot dot. Okay, I hope it is clear. Okay, cool. Let me close this. Let's go to the fourth one, that is a method can have only one priority. Now this is interesting. Okay, let's go and check. A method can have only one priority. That means we cannot have multiple priorities for a method. Okay, let's use the same class. Okay, so if I say, for example, I have let me make it simple, priority 1 for this particular uh, method, test method. I want to add another priority to it. So for example, let's add -2 to it. Okay, so if you see, we have an error here. Okay, it is showing, I don't know if you are able to see it, but you can see here, right? So the reason is test annotation, I mean your TestNG does not allow you to provide multiple priorities to a test method. Okay, so this is not allowed. If I hover on it, if you see here, it says syntax error on token. Okay, delete this token. So at the moment I remove this, okay, you can see that error is gone. Probably it will go and what it will do is it will do the maths, and probably it will, because I'll tell you, the reason is this is an integer. Okay, so probably the calculation is happening. So if I put it as -4, okay, let's see what happens. Right click, run as TestNG. All right, so if you see, we have open browser, close browser, and sign in. Why did it run open browser first and then close browser and sign in? The reason is 1 minus 4 is minus 3, which is again lower than minus 1. So that's the reason why this was executed, because this has actually become minus 3. Okay, so this will be executed first and this will be executed next, and then after this will be executed. All right, so we have seen that condition. Okay, so let's go back to the point. So we saw that we cannot have multiple priority for a method. Next is methods with same priority will be executed in alphabetical order. Now this is again interesting, right? So I have taken all the edge cases that can be possible with priority attribute. Okay, so let's go and check for the duplicate priority. We checked for multiple priorities, but right now we are going to check for duplicate priorities. So let's make one, and let's make it one again. I'm sorry, yeah, one. So I have made this test method and this test method. I have added the priority as 1 and 1. So what I did is I have set the same priority to this method for these methods. Okay, and let's see what happens now. Let's run it and test. Okay, so now you see here, so 0 will take the precedence because this is lower, okay, between 1 and 0. So sign in will be executed first, correct? And then we have close browser executed first and open browser executed first. Okay, why do you think so? Why do you think it was executed in that fashion? Why close browser was executed first and open browser was executed later? The reason is, as it says, when methods will when method have same priorities, methods with same priorities will be executed in alphabetical order. So back to square one. That means when the priorities are same, then the default behavior of TestNG will come into picture. That means it will execute them in alphabetical order. So that's why C comes before O in alphabetical, say in alphabet. So close browser will be executed first and open browser method will be executed next. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. You can try and you can play around, as I told you, early in the last video as well, that TestNG, it gives you wings. Okay, so since it has lot many option, it has lot many conditions, then you just have to play around to understand it better. Okay, this is how I have learned TestNG as well. Else you will fall into errors and then you will end up wasting your time debugging, understanding, or knowing things. Okay, so it's better you go and work on it as much as practice on it as much as possible. Okay, so we have seen methods with same priorities will be executed in alphabetical order. We have seen that, and now the last one is default priority of a test method is 0. That means if you don't have any priority set, then by default TestNG assigns a priority as 0 to a method. Let's see that with an example. Okay, now let's say, for example, we set it to 2 here. We set the sign in method priority as 2. Okay, and let's not give any priority to this. I'm sorry. Okay, this will be a good example. Let's not give any priority to this method. Okay, and let's give this as 2 and let's give this as 3. Right, so we don't have any priority here. You can see no priority. The priority was there. I have removed it. Only we have two test methods with priority 1 and priority 3. Okay, with priorities, that is priority 1 and priority, sorry, let's see, 2. Okay, so now let's see what happened when we run them. So I'm running this class using TestNG, and now you can see that still open browser was executed first, and then we have sign in, and then we have close browser, right? Why? We can understand that sign in was executed before close browser because sign in has higher priority than close browser, right? But why did open browser executed before sign in browser? We don't have any priority here. Okay, so let's go back to this statement and read again. Default priority of a test method is 0. Remember, note this word 0. If we don't have any priority set for a test method, then by default it is 0. So That's the reason why this is as good as when you don't have any method, any priority set for a test method. This is as good as this. This is equivalent to this actually, right? So if I run this again with zero, priority as 0, then we know what will happen. Again, the same thing. Order open browser will open first, I mean execute it first, and then sign in, and then close browser will happen next. Okay, so we saw that part, that if we don't have the priority set, then what happens. Okay, so let me remove all the priorities. Okay, we don't have priorities now. Now let's see the, okay, now you think what will happen. Okay, they all have, since they don't have any priorities set, they all have priority 0, priority 0, priority 0. Okay, so which condition we are into? We are into the duplicate priorities. Method with same priorities will be executed in alphabetical order, right? So that means since they all have priority zeros, then second cam, they all have same priorities, so the second one would be TestNG will execute them in alphabetical order. So the first one in alphabetical order comes, I mean the first method which comes in alphabetical order is close browser, and then we have sign in, and then we have, I'm sorry, after close we have open browser, and then we have sign in. Okay, so let's run and check. All right, so you see this, close browser was executed, open browser, and then sign in. They are all with priority 0. Okay, and they have been executed in alphabetical manner. All right, so we saw the last point as well. So this is all about priority attribute. I hope I have explained you everything. Okay, in case you have any doubt, or if you want me to explain something, just put it in the comment box. I'll be more than happy to answer you then and there, or if required, I will explain you over video. Okay, so okay, what do we have next then? Okay, now this is a bonus one, how to skip a test. I have not created a separate video because this is a very basic one. I just wanted to cover that as part of this tutorial, so within this video itself. So you may come in a situation where you want to skip a test method. Okay, so let's go and see how we can do that. So let's come here and say, for example, uh, let's forget about priority now. So say for example, I open the browser. Okay, I sign it, but I don't want to close this. I don't want to execute this method. I don't want to close the browser. Okay, so what you will do, if you run this class as it is, then all three methods will be executed. We saw that, right? But now if we have an attribute provided by TestNG to skip a test, okay, it will not be executed. So in order to do that, what you have to do is, we have an attribute called enabled is equals to false. All right, all you have to do is this, simple. So the test method that you want to skip, you don't want TestNG to execute it, then you have to add this keyword, the attribute enabled is equals to false, and let's see if this does the job. Run as TestNG and go. You can see there are only two tests run, open browser and sign in. See the report, open browser and sign in. There is no sign of the the method that we disabled. Okay, so this is a very simple one. You can use it for any of the method that you want. Okay, if you don't want it to be run, there are two ways. Okay, this is a very basic interview question as well. Okay, I asked them, okay, tell me two different ways uh, to disable a test. I mean, I don't want the test to be executed or considered by TestNG. So what is the first one? This is by default the first one. This is answered. Okay, and the second one is quite a little tricky. What I expect from them is, the simple one again. What I expect them is, okay, the enable false is done, so that condition is gone. Okay, tell me the second one. How can we do that? So what you do is you remove this. Okay, you don't keep @test on that method. That will The TestNG will not touch this method at all, because TestNG does not know what is this method. TestNG works only with test with, I mean, methods with annotations. Okay, it understands only annotations. If you don't have annotation, it will not execute that method. It doesn't know if that method even exists. Okay, so right click on it, run it, test, and let's see what happens. Okay, so again, two methods. Okay, there is no sign of the third method. Okay, so these are the two ways. One is you either remove the annotation, or second is you put enabled is equals to false as the attribute and the value. All right, so that is all I have for this video today, and I thank you for your time. Okay, and we will meet again with another attribute or some other topic from TestNG. We have lot many things to cover, and I hope that I have explained you well. Okay, anything there, you know what to do. You just have to put it in the comment box. I will be more than happy to help you with any of the answers that you need. Okay, and yeah, before we go, you know what you need to do. I need support. As of now, this is a new channel and I'm trying my best to get views and viewers, subscribers. Okay, so hit like and subscribe to the video, okay, that you are watching right now. And if you haven't subscribed it yet, click on the subscribe button, and then you will see an bell icon. You click on that so that you get the notification whenever I post uh, it online on YouTube. Okay, so thank you very much, and you have a nice time again ahead.